Yo, what up? What up, boys?
Yeah, I saw the roadmap came out earlier, and so I figured I'd come on and, look at it on day one and everything with you guys. And, yeah, I'm excited.
So, yeah, anyway, let's talk about, basically, this happened today, Lost Ark Roadmap. This is kind of something that I think a lot of people expected to see happen. And it's not a big surprise whatsoever. But, it's a good thing. I think so. A lot of people were unhappy that Lost Ark didn't have a roadmap. They had no real direction. People felt like there was they had no idea, what's going to happen. Is the game going to, is Valtan going to come out, tomorrow? And I think everybody got really kind of antsy, and they got really kind of what's the word for it? They got apprehensive about it, and they got worried because they didn't know whenever the next day is going to come out, and then somehow Valtan comes out. I think people felt that it was going to be with Argus, where Argus gets announced, and then within 2 or 3 days, now Argus is released, and everybody's doing Argos. Well, not everybody, but people that had the item level. So I think people were stressed out, rightfully so. Yeah, I think so. It's a fair assumption to make, because that's the thing that happened last time. I thought that was a wasp. It was a dragonfly. So yeah, that's basically it. Yeah, 1 day announcement. That's not going to happen, so people are going to get stressed out. Anyway, a lot of people are asking for a roadmap so they can plan their character. They know what they're going to do. And I think Amazon and Smilegate didn't do a roadmap earlier on purpose, to be honest with you. And the reason for that is they were waiting to see how players would approach the content. They probably thought Argos was going to be fine in the time that it got released, and it turns out that it was not fine. So I think now they're playing things a little bit closer to the belt. They were waiting to see how players approach things, how the different changes and honing rates approached, the different item level cutoffs. Because in order to do Valtan, correct me if I'm wrong, but in order to do Valtan, you need to be 14, 15 item level. Am I right about that? It's 14, 15 item level? Yeah. And what's hard mode Valtan? 1445. Okay, so I'll be able to do that on release too. That's cool. For me, one thing I wish that they would do, and I actually messaged somebody at Amazon about this today, is I wish they would add in the hell mode for Valtan as well. Because I think that a lot of streamers and a lot of groups are gonna they're gonna beat Valtan really, really fast. They're gonna beat it on day one, because these guys are 1480 item level or 1490 item level, right? So the reason why it's important to do that is that the perception that I think a lot of people are going to have. I thought it was a new band. Austin's the live music capital of the world, so you hear that a lot. Sounds better than Imagine Dragons already. So anyway, people are gonna beat the shit out of Valtan on hard mode on day one, and I think that's gonna give people this perception that Lost Ark Legion raids are super easy, and if they release hell mode that's gear equalized, it'll give those super hardcore players something to work towards, and they'll be able to do that instead of just doing hard mode and making the game look easy. Because I think that the perception around the game is really important. You don't want to have people just shit stomp the content on day one, because then everybody thinks it's easy. Let's see here. Heroes of Arcasia. In March, Smilegate RPG joined us in our Seattle studio to help with the content roadmap, improve operations and tools, continue collaboration on all things related to the Western release of Lost Ark. If you haven't read it yet, make sure to read our letter to the community. It's not really that big of a surprise. I mean, obviously the Lost Ark team is trying their best to make sure the game gets released. They've got a lot of money riding on this, so it's a good thing. For the purposes of the April and May roadmap, we'll start by reiterating a few things from that letter. We're going to keep the near future focused on horizontal content and giving players paths for progression without feeling like they need to pay. And I think that's a really good thing, man. That is a war going on. I hate this shit, man. I'm actually I've thought about moving just because it's so loud, constantly. I can't even think. So basically, what they said is they don't want people to feel like they have to spend money to unlock the new content. Because, like, in my opinion, I don't really think it's a problem that, like, you can spend money to get to 1490, because nobody cares about getting to 1490. It doesn't matter. It doesn't unlock any new content for you. It's just basically an ego boost for somebody that has a small dick. And that's about it. There's no other reason to do this. You don't unlock a new raid. You don't unlock a new boss. You don't unlock access to new materials. Yes, obviously you can farm things more quickly, but almost all the things you can farm more quickly are time gated anyway. Things like, you know, your daily chaos dungeons with the resonance. Things like the daily guardian raids. All the things that you can basically farm with having a high item level and really good gear are limited. There's not really that many things that you can do with them. So because of that, and the fact that all of the content that you get to from, like, let's say 1400, there's functionally no difference in the way that you experience the game as a 1400 item level player right now versus a 1490 item level player right now. These things are literally the exact same thing. You are playing the exact same content, you are doing the exact same things, and yes, obviously, I'm assuming 1490, you're going to be able to kill things a little bit faster. However, that's not the end all and be all. So anyway, what really matters here is making sure that players are all able to get caught up, and whenever content does get released, people are at least able to approach it if they're playing a reasonable amount of time. Now, is it a reasonable expectation for all content that is released to be immediately accessible by casual free-to-play players? I don't really think so. I think that it's okay to have, like, hard modes, to have some content that is more accessible by only, well, it's been 2 minutes. Yep, another airplane as well. And yeah, it's okay to have some content. I'll just wait for this. Now you can see why I can't do videos out here. Like, this is just nuts. Yeah, so anyway, some content for rich people. Well, it's not really content for rich people. It's basically that you can never really, like, there are some people that are still in tier 2 right now and they just play super casually, right? I mean, they're playing like 2 hours a day, or they're playing like 2 hours every 3 days. So they just haven't really gotten that far in the game. They don't know how the upgrade system works. They're just fucking stupid and they don't know what they're doing. And they're not stupid, they just don't know. And so they're playing it at their own rate, at their own pace, and that's just generally what happens. So, so I read something in chat that I thought was funny. And talking about majority and casual, not slow people, exactly, right? And like, in my opinion, I think, like, what is the average player at right now? I think the average semi-casual, semi-hardcore, free-to-play player is somewhere between 1350 and 1385. Like, if they're not selling the materials and they're making a conscious effort to upgrade every single day, 1350 to 1385. I think that's what's fair. Like 1340? No, I think higher than that. If you're still only 1340, like, you probably, like, they've given you so many, like, welcome rewards and shit like that. If you're still 1340, like, you probably haven't been playing the game, man. Like, yeah, and that's it. That's fine. That's fine. You don't need to be playing the game, but I'm just saying, like, that's the way it works. So yeah, and I'm 1355. I work a full-time job. Well, like, that's my point, though, right? And 1385 completely free to play. Yeah, and there's people that are 1400 plus and that are free to play too. There's very rare people that are, like, you know, let's say 1415 plus and completely free to play. I'm sure they may exist though. And so anyway, what I'm really trying to get at here is that you want to release content to where the average casual, semi-casual player will either be at it on release or be very close to it on release. So that's kind of what I think their philosophy should be, and that's what it seems like their philosophy actually is. And that's a very good thing. And I'm really glad to see that Amazon is actually not talking around this issue. They're dealing with it very directly. They're saying very directly, we don't want to have people feel like they have to pay real money to get ahead in the game, right? That is a great thing to hear, because it shows that they understand crystal clear what people's concerns are. So yeah, I think that's a great thing. That's my opinion, at least. But that's what they do? No, they did that once, right? Like, they did that once with Argos. It was a stupid mistake. They shouldn't have done it, but it happened. And so what did I say with Argos? I said something very simple. I said that we're going to have to wait and see what happens in the future. And if they continue doing this, then I will say they're doing it on purpose. But the first time is, you know, I usually give people a mulligan. I usually do. Even if I distrust them, I will give them the benefit of the doubt generally, as long as it's not, you know, a really bad thing for me. So like, for example, it's like fool me once, shame on me, or sorry, fool me once, shame on you, fool me twice, shame on me. 2 points create a line. And so you can't really see if things are really connected or not until you have multiple examples of something happening. There's always going to be people, and this is what happened with Classic WoW. Like, let's actually talk about that. Is like in Classic WoW, whenever they brought out BWL, and even whenever they brought out AQ40 and stuff, some people were saying like, bro, like I'm still fucking like level 58 or I'm level 48. Like I haven't even finished the content. And it's like they want the whole game to like conform around them because they're really casual and really slow at the game. So how do you solve that problem? You don't. You can never make everybody happy. And this is just like the truth with any of these situations. And I think it's such a huge mistake whenever different developers try to do this. It's such a huge mistake whenever developers try to go out of their way to, actually like make every single person happy. So I think that's kind of what happens. And the nature of free-to-play games, though, it's intentional. Play Genshin, they know their tactics. Here's the problem, right? Is that MMO players, if a game gets a reputation that it's pay to win in an MMO, people will stop playing it. It's literally that simple. They're going to stop playing the game. It doesn't matter, like, Lost Ark is pay to win to an extent, but the selling point that people always promoted with Lost Ark before it got released was that Lost Ark was pay to win if you want to get the absolute best gear, but you can still experience the entire game and without a whole lot of problems if you don't pay anything. That's always been the argument, and I think that's fair. It's not a big deal. So that's really what the issue is. So it's like, it might sound like a, you know, like a fucking third grade business, you know, mindset that like, oh yeah, this is a great idea. Let's just go and make the game super fucking pay to win and then make a bunch of money. But if you do that, then everybody quits the game. You see what I'm saying? So it's like like it would be great if you could sell every bag of Cheetos that you have for $1 billion, but people aren't going to buy it for that much money. So that's the example. Yeah. Anyone who plays Lost Ark is retarded, basically. I mean, not really. I think people just like the game. Like, I like the game. I think it's a fun game, and that's really what matters to me. Is that if I'm not having fun playing a game, I just quit playing the game. It's literally that simple. And I think that a lot of people, I hate this. Like, I literally hate this so much. I really do. Like, this is just, like, I'm about to just go inside or just turn off the stream. Like, it's so annoying. Like, I hate this so much. I need to get, like, somebody link me on Twitter, one of those, like, fucking, like, machines that, like, plays a dog whistle. I'll buy them. Yeah, I'm gonna get, like, 3. I'm so sick of this shit. Unless you're feeling uncomfortable. No, it's just, it's very distracting and it's hard for me to concentrate. Like, I have a very weak concentration. Even the slightest thing will kind of take me off of my, it's stressful. It's extremely stressful to have this, like, things happening constantly around you. It's always got freedom of speech. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, that's pretty much the way I look at it, right? Is that, like, you've got a situation where a lot of people have this perception that Lost Ark's pay to win, and now, like, everybody is, like, waiting for, like, that next new thing to come out for them to be, like, justified and be like, yes, I fucking knew it was pay to win. There it is, you're doing that bullshit again. So that's why I think they're being really, really careful with this. And, you know, spoiler, if you haven't read the roadmap yet, Valtan isn't coming out until May, which is a good idea. I think that's a very, very good decision. Obviously, it does delay the content, and people, you know, there's a lot of people that are like me, right? Like, it would be great for me if Valtan came out tomorrow. Like, that would be awesome, because then I could log on and do Valtan immediately. But that's not really something that matters. Like my experience as a, you know, like a semi whale in the game, right? People giving me stuff constantly. I spent like $600 to get that weapon. Like, my experience is not the experience that Lost Ark needs to worry about maintaining, because somebody like me will find a way to find content in the game in other ways anyway. What they really need to keep on the game is people that are casual, people that are more relaxed about it. More like whale. No, whales, like, people spend like 20, 30, $50,000 on the game. Like, I spent like maybe 1,500, $2,000 on it. Like, it's not remotely close. Like, people, it's way, way, way more. Yeah, it's not like some people spend 2K. Yeah, or more. Exactly. So, not even casual people will play the game. And so, like, yeah, the way I play the game, I'm like a dolphin, exactly. And the way I play the game is not really the way that the game should be designed in order to create a content cadence for. It should be designed to create a content cadence for casual players and people that are semi-hardcore. I think that's generally the best idea, with optional hardcore encounters for players that are very hardcore. And I think those optional hardcore encounters should be the hell modes, because the hell modes are the ones that are gear equalized. Those are the ones that don't have you know, a bunch of like really difficult you know, gear checks or anything like that. It's gear equalized. And so that needs to be the real challenge in the game, because that's where you know, you can really see people for what they are and not what they paid for. You know what I think the biggest population of whales are, and people that spend money are? I would say that it's like a lot of them are people that are like hardcore players that spend money on the game regularly. So these are not like the $30,000 Andes. These are like the $500 a month Andes. These are the $1,000 every 2 month Andes. Something like that. And those are the ones that are like really pushing the content, really pushing hardcore. Like, I know, like in WoW, for example, a lot of the people that I knew that bought gold all the time were actually some of the most hardcore players, because they're the ones that are the most invested in the game, and so it makes sense that they would want to invest more into the game, right? It's just logically. And we want to give players more time to reach the end game before introducing Legion raids, the definitive Lost Ark raiding experience, and ensure players are able to explore Arcasia and progress at their own pace without feeling pressured to race towards endgame content. And that's a good thing. I think that's definitely a good thing. On March 24th, our update included new materials to add with honing chances that can be earned in the 2 events, and more ways for people to earn weekly honing materials and honing materials as a gift to all players. April will continue that trend, providing more horizontal content for players to enjoy as they learn the systems of Lost Ark and continue to progress. With that, let's deep dive into April. And again, I think this is all good. These are all good things. These are all improving the experience of players. And I think just in general, it's good. Yeah, this is just overall good. All of that mindset is good. I think the changes were good for the Grand Prix, and I think they were also good for the Guardian event. I think the Guardian event is it's new, it's different, it's fresh. It won't last that long, and I think by the time people really get tired of it, it'll be gone. So it's kind of like our slash place, right? I think that's perfect. So yeah, and that's a good thing. Still no head and back attack bar. Yeah, that's stupid. That should be in the game tomorrow. But it's not, and so like we'll talk about that, you know, whenever it is. Will any of these changes bring players back? I think that really whenever you're talking about bringing players back, the goal isn't really to bring players back. It's more to retain players whenever they start playing the game. Because a lot of people that quit playing the game are probably not going to come back until there's like a massive patch or something like that. It's more about new people are trying Lost Ark every single day. New people are making accounts. New people, like even in New World, right? I went out and I was looking around the New World, and I saw a bunch of people that are like level 21, like level 44 or 31. And it's like these are just people like out in the game playing the game. And so what it's really about is like retaining those players for longer and keeping the life cycle of the experience that player has long enough for it never to really fully complete, because the content keeps getting released at a cadence that's beyond what their completion rate is. So that's what I think the goal is, and that's what I think should work. So anyway, let's go back over here. 1 class per month is bullshit. I think 1 class per month is totally fine. Like 1 class per month is a lot. Yeah, I mean shit. Like I mean I don't know. I'm not really much of like an alt Andy, but like I think that's plenty. Like what do you want? Like once a week? Like damn. Yeah, it's 1 class a month is really, really good. Why don't you disagree? Because I think that like if you start bombarding people with content, this is kind of what happens. So like I guess the best example that I can use that's a parallel to this is on a YouTube channel. So on a YouTube channel, it's actually better to not upload a bunch of videos all at the same time. It's better to space them out, because you get what's called viewer fatigue, where people watch one video and then they don't want to go on to the next video because they just got done watching the first one. So it's better to space things out and that way you give people the ability to enjoy it without feeling like they have to do everything all the time right now. So yeah, give them the slow trickle. It's just a better way of releasing content in general. That's why so many different games do that. So even if the classes are ready to play, yes. Even if the class is ready to play, yes. That's exactly it. And logically it makes sense. Yes, logically it makes sense. And in pretty much every circumstance that I can think as a use case for this, it is a better way of introducing the content. Yeah, you introduce it in stages, and that way, again, you're pacing players. People don't feel like they have to play constantly to keep up. People don't get overwhelmed. People don't get distracted. It's like they're playing with one new thing, and then they get another new thing. And it's like, oh my God. It's like the video of the dog, and they're throwing a tennis ball down. The dog bites the tennis ball. Oh, wow. And there's another tennis ball. He tries to bite that one. And there's like 50 tennis balls, and he's like, what the fuck? And he runs away. You know, so that's the way I feel about it. Right, I think one class a day is totally fine, or one. That's a bit much. One class a month is totally fine. Yeah, so that's where I'm at. Like, there's always going to be people that it would be better for them personally if they released more classes. So, for example, there's a lot of people that really want to play Scouter, because it looks really cool. So it's like, to them, well, they're pissed because the class isn't out yet. But I mean, again, you can't really design a game and make gameplay decisions and make everybody happy. I think that it's the best option is to do the most good for the most people, right? That's the smartest thing to do for a developer, and I think that's what Amazon is doing now. So yeah, there we go. Anyway, let's go back over. So new martial artist advanced class, Glaivier. Now, I'm gonna be honest. I think the name sucks. I think the name's fucking stupid. This is the Lance Master. This is a stupid fucking name. Nobody knows how to say it. Just rename it to Lance Master. Everybody knows what Lance Master is. Name it to Dragoon. Name it to Lance Master. Name it to Halberdier. That doesn't really work. I don't. Lancer. Yes. How about Lancer? Yeah, Lancer sounds great. Yeah. Why not just do Lancer? That makes perfect fucking sense. And what do they use? Oh, they use a lance. Oh. Huh. That makes sense, huh? Yeah. Sure. Okay. And name it Pokeboy? Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think it's a stupid fucking name. But who cares? It doesn't really matter. Let's look down here. Practicing artistic dead reform martial arts. The Glaivier slices and dices her way through the battlefield, weaving together attacks with her spear and glaive. Glaivier has two distinct sets that can be swapped between, Focus and Fury, which each stance skill set represented by one of her two weapons. Shorter spear, used to unused Furious Barrage. Yeah. Basically, it's an advanced class between War Dancer, Soul Fist, Striker, Scrapper, and the fifth one is Glaivier or Lance Master. So yeah, I think that's good. New class is great. I'm happy, and not really a class I'm going to play a whole lot. It did look cool seeing the video and everything, but it's not something that I'm like super excited for, if that makes sense. New continent. No, new continent's coming out. I think this is something a lot of people expected. This is where I think the bridge came in from, and it's South Vern. That's on the other side. It's to the south of North Vern, by the way, for anybody who was unsure. That's where it is. So yeah, we're getting South Vern. Settlers of South Vern borrow technology, many different races from once barren land. Yeah, whatever. Okay, so let's get back down to the important thing. What could be happening to this peaceful continent? Well, I'm sure something bad. And uncover the mysteries of South Vern as you venture into this new region, encounter new characters, and complete quests. South Vern will join Punica as the second Tier 3 continent, requiring an item level of 1340 to begin. For our newer players, we'll be sharing more information with how to work your way towards Tier 3 and join the new adventure. So yeah, it's 1340. That's where it's based at. I think that's totally fine. General updates. South Vern and Glaivier Advanced class are not only things to arrive in April, they are also doing new login events, new login rewards, new skins, store updates, kind of all the stuff that you would expect from any sort of from an MMO update. I think it just makes sense. And let's look at this other one here, and this is one they're going to announce right now. They're having a Phaeton Power Pass that power levels a character all the way up to immediately 960 item level. So like 960 is about in the middle of Tier 2. So it's like you're halfway done with Tier 2 at that point. So that's really big. And so that's for people that want to just like immediately play this class, go right into the content and not have to worry about it. That's actually a big thing. I totally agree. I think that's a great thing. And I feel like, yeah, of course, like why would they not want to do this? I think that's the biggest thing. Yeah, why would they not want to do it? And there's a lot of people who are, you know, they're always going to be a little bit negative about this kind of stuff. Oh, they're making it too easy or whatever. Nah, man, like if you're still in tier 1, you need to catch up. It is what it is. It's huge. Is it free? I am highly anticipating it to be free. Like I would assume that it was free. I would be very surprised, to be honest, if it was not free. So yeah, it's going to be probably free. Improved co-op party play for secret maps. All 4 members can submit a map and get rewards with 1 run. That is a great thing too. Doing the map runs and running around the world is, in my opinion, bad gameplay. I don't like how you have to follow people around and each person has to open it. It's just shitty design. So yeah, them doing that just simply makes the game better. No more map scamming. Yeah, it's just I don't really do map rotations, but yeah, I think it's anti-scam protection. Yeah, and it also just makes things cleaner and easier. So yeah, and let's see here. Chat tab with settings are shared across players' roster. Again, just a quality of life feature. I think that's definitely good too. Improved book of coordination settings, skill presets, etc. That's good too. So that's what's happening in April, but there is going to be more stuff happening in May. So we promise to be honest, sometimes brutally so, and now is one of those times. While we can say that we firmly plan on releasing the Destroyer Advanced Class, Trial Guardian raids, and quality of life adjustments in May, Valtan's Legion raid and Deskaluda will be moved if we feel like these activities would create pressure within the community. Eventually, endgame content will be introduced, but players should feel comfortable to continue progressing at their own pace. Now, in my opinion, I think, especially with like the new content being added from South Vern, I think that releasing Valtan in May is reasonable. What do you guys think? I think releasing it yeah, I think that's reasonable, because most people will be able to get there, and especially like, because you've got to keep in mind that's like 30 days from now. So like it's not happening tomorrow, right? Or like whatever, like 2 weeks. This is like you have 30 days. So that's like 30 days of like leap stones. 30 days of the leap stones going down in value, it seems. Like just leveling up now is exponentially cheaper. I remember whenever I was buying the leap stones, whenever people were trying to get up to 1370, leap stones were 800 gold. And now they're 80 gold. So it's literally fucking 1,000% easier to get leap stones. 45 days, yeah. A lot of people can't afford to buy the mats. Yeah, sure, the gold's so hard to come by for me, we need a honing buff. I think they'll probably add in a smaller honing buff whenever they, introduce Valtan. That's kind of what I'm expecting. And that's what I would think. Yeah, South Vern introduces a lot of materials. Yeah, exactly. So that's kind of what's going to happen. And most people are the ones trying to sell them to avoid the goddamn honing. Well, yeah, but like the honing prices in NA are like very, very cheap. If you compare them to the prices in Korea, the prices in Korea are much higher. They need to give more silver some way. I think so too. I feel like I'm always running out of silver as well. Like having a character that just does low-paying dailies to get silver is the dumbest thing ever. Like nobody wants to do that. It's just it's such dog shit game design. Like nobody wants to. Yeah, it's boring. It's slow. Like yeah, that's just trash design. So I'm not a fan of that. I hope they get rid of it. And using alts is stupid as fuck. Yeah, I think that at the moment at which, like, to progress your character at a natural rate, that you need to play alt characters, that's a problem with the game. Yeah, it's like an alt for mount runs. Yeah, but like comparing mount runs to something else like gear progression, I think is not fair. It's like cosmetic progression doesn't really matter as much as like actual character progression. So yeah, anyway, let's go back. We're going to read the rest of this. And so eventually endgame content will be introduced. Yeah. Our data has suggested that a big portion of our active player base will reach or will be close to reaching the item levels needed to participate in the higher endgame content in May. Our goal is to provide fun content for players, even if it's at a higher level, while never making players feel pressured that they need to pay to keep up. And that's exactly what people want. That, like, what they're saying here is exactly what I want to hear. Am I right about this? Like, what do you guys think? because like I feel like this is what I want to hear from the devs. This is what this is exactly it. Like, okay, yes, you see what the problem is, and you are addressing and you are saying what the problem is. This is great. Hard mode for Valtan is 1445, so I don't know. Yeah, I think that like a serious player will be a little bit above 1415 whenever Valtan comes out, and so 1445 is something they can work towards pretty quickly above that. Because, and this is also like me also assuming that they're going to buff honing. I think they'll probably also buff honing whenever this comes out. If they pay a shit ton, yeah. They'll not. Well, I mean, they're saying that they will. Honing buff's only until 1370, I think. Yeah, but like if the buff is at 1370, then you'll just like organically have less materials that are added into the economy, or sorry, that are deleted from the economy, because you'll need less trials to use the materials, which will create more of them in the economy, which will drive down the prices and make it easier to do the honing. You know, like the economy's like the economy is not like a cause and effect. It's like a cause and effect and effect and effect and effect and effect. It's like a domino thing. So yeah, that's wrong. Honing buff is active for 415 too. Yeah, I mean, everybody in this game knows something different. I've never seen a game where the player base is so divided on basic issues, basic data and basic information. So let's see. Consider monitoring player feedback and data and provide updates as we're able to strive to remain transparent in our communication and decision making. We appreciate your support and feedback, so please keep it coming while we start to make the adventure together. Okay, there we go. That's good. And also, just very simply, they are planning on releasing the Destroyer in May. That's the big warrior with the huge fucking mace. I am excited. I think that's fucking awesome. I am really, really, really excited for the Destroyer. I will play it, but I don't really see myself playing it over the Berserker. I still think Berserker is my favorite class, even watching the Destroyer gameplay. I'm very happy about it, but it's going to be hard to beat the fucking Berserker, okay? That's what I'm really saying. So let's look over here. Pushing, launching, pushing things around, and it's a warrior advanced class as well. Trial Guardian raids. Trial Guardian raids are a new weekly activity for players looking for a challenge. Each week, they can attempt to defeat 3 Trial Guardians. Each Guardian has their own required item level to enter. So this is like basically time walking in WoW, or like going back and doing synced content in Final Fantasy, pretty much. Trial Guardian raids will apply Scale of Harmony so that your character's item level will be adjusted appropriately to that of the enemy. Additionally, players cannot use the Battle Workshop in the raid region. However, with the increased challenge comes increased rewards. Rewards for the Challenge Guardian can be obtained once per roster per week and offer more diverse rewards than normal Guardian raids. I think that the Trial Guardian raids is a good thing. Having the scaled Guardian raids makes it way more interesting. The concern that I have with the Guardian raids is that many of these Guardian raids are just I think that some of the Guardians just suck. Like, I'm gonna be honest, like I think that they suck. Like, in my opinion, you know what I think the best Guardians are? So the best Guardians are Velganos, Nakrasina, that's the Scorpion, and not Armored Nakrasina. Armored Nakrasina sucks. It's an easy boss. There's no, it's too easy. Like Nakrasina from like tier 2 is like way better. Egrexion is a joke. I don't like Egrexion. Chromanium is, I think, boring. Achades is, I don't like the lasers that he does between the two of them, because it's very hard to tell which ones you're in and which ones you're out of. It's just, I feel like that's kind of a cheesy mechanic. But other than that, yeah, sure, Achades is okay. I think Yoho is a good fight too. I like Yoho. Alberhostic. I think Alberhostic is generally fair. Yeah, I think Alberhostic is a good fight. But for me, if I was going to say like Verdas, well, Verdas after the nerfs I think is fine. Yeah, Verdas is fine. Calventus is good. Well, Calventus is good too because he's a dragon, so like he looks cool. It's cool to fight Calventus, you know what I mean? And let's see. So yeah, I would say like my top 3 would probably be Velganos, original Nakrasina with the hooked tail, and it's really hard for me to see like what is Tytalos is good also. Tytalos is a terrible fight. Like it's actually just a terrible fight. It's awfully made. Half of the difficulty in the fight is being able to see the visuals that overlap on each other because they're using the same color palette. It sucks. So yeah, it's a trash fight. let's see. I don't know really what my third would be, but those are my top 2 favorites. Third best fight, I would say probably Alberhostic. If I had to put a number 3, that I would say Alberhostic. So yeah, I think the Trial Guardians are going to be good. They just need to make sure that they don't release Guardians that are unfun to play against. I think that's really what it comes down to. Egrexion is, I think, kind of a shitty fight. I don't really like it, but I don't think it's even nearly as bad as Verdas. And it is the worst of the tier 3 Guardians, but I still enjoy fighting it much more than pretty much any of the other tier 2 or tier 1 Guardians, minus a handful. So it's a good fight, even though it's probably one of the worst ones in tier 3. I think the Guardian raids have just gotten better. Increased challenge. Rewards for each challenge dungeon can be obtained once per roster per week and offer more diverse rewards than normal Guardian raids. I think that's a good thing. Obviously, that's great. General updates, major quality of life changes, ability to check daily and weekly content participation in a new menu, UI updates, improved party finder, party invites. Probably after watching my stream, they thought that they needed that. That's a good thing. I'm happy about that. Updated loot dismantling, convenience features, few fun features like being able to randomly summon favorite mounts, and hairstyles for customization. That's always good too. Great. So all this stuff is good. The new Guardian raid, Deskaluda, whatever the fuck its name is, it's Helgia, but it's green, basically. So yeah, super cool. Valtan, normal and hard mode. And let's see this. Valtan was the first Legion raid introduced to Western Lost Ark whenever it was released. Legion raids are difficult team-based activities that require teamwork and to understand and enact strategy necessary to counter each Legion commander's unique characteristics, abilities, and mechanics. As Legion raids are challenging and take time, there are gates or checkpoints to save players' progress as they advance through the raid. Valtan is an 8-player Legion raid and introduced a swath of new mechanics. Players will need to be item level 415 to get into the raid, and hard mode again is 445. It's possible, in my opinion, if they made it lower to 1430, maybe that would be better. Yeah, maybe that would be better. I don't know, because it's like, because nothing really is set in stone. You can just retune things. Like I'm not sure. Disagree. Well, all I'm saying is like. Blackus is 1430. Yeah, I guess maybe that wouldn't work, but either way, I'm just saying, like, they shouldn't. If they need to change item levels for things, I think that they should. If they're worried about players thinking it's pay to win, because it's more important, in my opinion, for the game to not get that reputation, because like that reputation is like a death sentence. So it's super important for that to not happen, but at the same time, it is. You know, it's important to make sure it's as real as possible too, right? And so let's see here, looking ahead, and this is the closing statement, right? Once again, this is not all the content that we will release in April and May. We'll keep you up to date if anything changes as we work through the updates to ensure you both know what's on the roadmap in the coming months. We're excited to watch you progress through your journeys in Arcasia, both in vertical content and horizontal, as you explore Lost Ark for everything it has to offer. So, and they're going to share the summer roadmap content after April and May are wrapped up. So I think this is a smart thing. Overall, I think that this is a very good roadmap announcement. And the reason for that is because they have talked about a lot of things in here that people have had questions about. I think they've addressed what the concerns are. They've adequately demonstrated that they understand what the concerns for players are, and I think this is good. Yeah, it's a good roadmap, and I think also not making a longer form roadmap is a good idea too, because you have to be agile with what players are doing, how they're approaching things, and it's smart to not have like a year-long plan, because what happens if things are going too fast? What happens if they're going too slow? It's better to not announce a plan than have a plan and have to deviate from it, because that's going to disappoint people or frustrate them depending on which direction you go in. So yeah, I think that's a good decision for sure. So what do you guys think about it? Yeah, they separate roadmaps into 3-month increments normally. Yeah, I think that's fine. This release 415, Vulcan, for Vicus. I have no idea, man. Hype for Lancemaster. Yeah, this is great. Like I'm happy. Like I'm excited. Like I'm gonna play tomorrow. And we're going to do Argos and hopefully get some fucking good gear. I'm excited. I think like right now, like my goal that I have is like I just want to start working towards fucking 1490. Just slowly, just getting towards it, one tap at a time, man. And I'm farming out materials like every single fucking day. And so it'll take a while. Have you been lifting? Not really. I thought about working out, but we'll see what happens. And anyway, it's good. They should add Blackus for 1430, or at least change Hard Valtan 1430. That's too huge of a gap. Well, so like a big difference that you have to understand with like 1430 and 1450 and 1445 is that 1415 is 16. It's like 15 or something like that. Basically, 1445 at that level, it's 15. So 17 is 1445. So it's actually only 2 jumps. You see what I'm saying? Like, there's actually only 2 jumps that you have to do. It's not like you have to level 6 times. Because a lot of players don't know this, but after you get up to a high enough item level, the honing chances go down a bit. However, proportionally, you are going to actually get more item level because you go up by 15 item levels a tap rather than 5. You see what I'm saying? Yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah, a lot of people don't know that. Most excited for South Burn, to be honest. I think it'll be fun. Like, I'm excited for it too. It's going to come out really soon. It's going to be great. 2-tap it, that's what I'm going to do. I just want to get to 1490, and then I'm going to work on my second Berserker after that. And then that second Berserker is I'm going to cap that second Berserker at like 1430. And I'm not going to get him any more stuff beyond that because I want to save him for Valtan, and that way I can do him on release without my gear being too good. Yeah, and that's just for content. Just for stream content. Like, literally no other purpose other than that. Literally just for stream content. And yeah, that'd be big. Yep, there we go. Will I play female Zerker? No. You're going to say, Asmon, I can see you being there at 1490, ready for Valtan? Oh, I'm going to do it on both my characters, yeah. But I think that for, like, a viewer experience, is it a better viewer experience to watch me go in there, you know, me, Rich, Shroud, and all of the other whales go in there and just absolutely dick down Valtan at 1490 item level with best in slot gear? No, it's not. It's not. Like, people might want to watch to do that, but I think there's a lot more people that are going to want to watch to see the challenge of the game. They want to see, like, what's going on. And as I said, I talked to somebody from Amazon earlier today, and I suggested that they release the Hell mode at the same time as Valtan, because I think that what's going to happen is that this is a matter of perception. Is that what's going to happen is people are going to watch streams of Valtan, and they're going to see somebody like me, somebody like Shroud, or like Zeals, or somebody that's already, like, experienced with the game. They already know everything about the game. And not only that, but they have really good gear. Like, let's say their item level is 1463, and they go into normal mode or even hard mode Valtan, and they just dick the boss down. And a lot of people are going to see that, and what they're going to say is, "Wow, this game is easy." And they're gonna think it's easy. So, like, if you have, like, that Apex challenge, you also give casual players, or not casual players, hardcore players, I mean, a bar to meet. Because right now, like, any sort of, like, a very hardcore player doesn't really have much of a bar to meet, because they're going to probably get 1445 by the time Valtan comes out. They've got an entire month to farm that out. So yeah, ready pay to win, the game is easy? No, what I'm saying is that it's easy for anybody who has that item level. Yeah, it's nothing special. Velganos is hard as shit at 1385. Yeah, it was pretty hard. I would say so, for sure. That's pay-to-win level, though? It's not, though, because it is now, but it won't be in a month. And it also won't be whenever you introduce, like, the materials. And also, even with it being the pay-to-win item level, doesn't that make my point even stronger? That it's even more important to have an Apex challenge that you can't pay-to-win through, because that way you can't see people who did pay-to-win completely dicking the game down and making it look easy. You see my point? So, like, it's very important for that perception to not set in, and I think if they introduce Hell Mode Valtan at the same time, you retain some level of difficulty that everybody can point to and say, actually, no, you know, there is a challenge in the game, even for whales, and it's this thing right here. Hell Mode, yeah, oh, sorry, I forgot to even mention this. Hell Mode is like min-eye level no echo. It's like, basically, you are gear capped, you have a certain set of skills, and also I think the boss is harder too. So it's kind of like it's like challenge mode dungeons in WoW or something like that. It's equalized. The game itself, it's very important for the game to have content that appears challenging for people that are the whales. Because if you don't have content that appears challenging, people will perceive that as these guys are just, because they're going to go and do Valtan like the casual players are, and they're going to get destroyed, and then they're going to see these other hardcore players doing it, and or whales doing it and just winning, and it's going to frustrate them. So if you have a hell mode that everybody can approach that is actually a true test of difficulty, you avoid that stereotype, you avoid that perception. So I think it's super, super important to do that. Yeah, I really hope that happens, and I'd be curious to hear what other people's perspective is on it, but it's something that I think would be important. Defending pay-to-win games, Sag? Well, I think that here's really what I think is going to happen is a lot of games are becoming more and more pay-to-win, and I think that if you're trying to avoid pay-to-win games, you're going to end up not playing any games. And I think that the best way to handle it is to approach the games and see is this an ethical game, is this a fun game to play, and just make decisions off of that. I think especially for MMOs is that MMOs are always going to have, because here's kind of what the problem with MMOs is. It's that MMOs take a lot of money to run, and I think by the nature of them being an ongoing existing world, that they need to become they need to be a living world, and they need to have content developed for them regularly. It's not like in let's say Elden Ring, where the game is released and it's done, and they'll make new DLC, but DLC will also cost money, to be fair. But it's how do you make that money back? Do you make it back with a subscription? Do you make it back with skins and things like this? And it's just kind of what happens. More money equals more funny for game equals better game. Yeah, and it's just what's going to happen in general. I think that really the only solution to games being pay to win is regulation, and I don't think that the gaming player base in general is able to effectively protest games being pay to win. I don't think they have the power or the organizational abilities to protest a game being pay to win. So it's pointless to even try. I can't see it happening. Yeah, exactly. And we've seen this happen with mobile games, etc. And I think also another big reason why people are becoming more accepting of gaming being pay to win is because the gaming audience in general is becoming broader and larger, and more people in the gaming audience nowadays can afford to pay to win, so it's not seen as badly by them because they have an option that they might have necessarily not had an option to have in the beginning. You see what I'm saying? Yeah, it's if you're 45 or let's say you're 35, you started gaming or doing online games 15 years ago, and you're 35 now, the odds are your financial situation is better. Especially let's say you're a programmer, you're you work in IT or any software development, or you're a tradesman, right? You're a welder. If you're a welder, it's no problem for you to afford these kinds of things, especially here in America, right? So a lot of these people, back then, games being pay to win were bad because these people couldn't pay to win. But now that they're getting older, they're more okay with it because now they're able to pay to win. It's just that simple. That's such a shit excuse. Well, so the reason why I say that is that one thing that I always have believed is that people will only, and primarily at least, advocate for things that are in their own benefit. I very rarely expect people to advocate for something that is directly against their benefits. And that's why I think it's changed, is because now they can be a beneficiary for something, so that's why they're okay with it. I think that's also another reason, I don't want to get into politics here, I think it's another reason why a lot of young people like high taxes and a lot of old people and older people don't like high taxes. Because older people make more money, so they have to pay more money. Younger people don't make as much money, so they don't have to pay as much money, and they want higher taxes. It's that simple. Higher taxes are bad, though. I don't care what you think about taxes. I'm talking about a general observation that I've had with people and what they advocate for and what they want. To be honest, the game introduced boring and annoying systems to incentivize players to spend in a gambling system. The problem is not pay to win; it's the gambling. Yeah, I agree with that, and I think that I think the best way to deal with that is to shine a light on it, show how bad it is, and hope that the the officials are able, the government is able to regulate it. Because for example, how can gambling has always been a scam, right? Casinos have always been a scam, and people still show up to Caesar's Palace every night. How does this happen? It's because people are stupid. And so unless people are going to have it regulated, it will just keep happening. So I have no, like, I'm not going to try to fight against gambling mechanisms or anything like that, because I can't. It doesn't matter who does. Like, Elon Musk can't fight about this. Like, he can't do anything. I can't do anything. PewDiePie can't do anything. Mr. Beast can't do anything. SFan can't do anything. Mizkif can't do anything. XQC can't do anything. None of us can do anything. The only thing that can be done is for there to be regulation. It seems harsh to say people gamble because they're stupid. It is harsh, and it's true. If you gamble a lot and you go to casinos and you gamble on things like slots and stuff like that, it's just stupid. It's entertaining. It's entertaining to watch. Bro, like, we were watching Rosh earlier today. Like, I watch it, but I don't do it. Like, yeah, I mean, yeah, it's just dumb. Predatory tactics from across gaming industry because, what's this here? Because the need to make profit for shareholders? No, it's not a need to make profit for shareholders. I think this is a misconception. Because Lost Ark has had these features, like a lot of people, like if you look at, like Lost Ark, for example, is not a publicly traded company. But it still has these gambling features. So it's clearly not, if the problem was the fact that it was a publicly traded company, then Lost Ark would not have this problem. But it's clearly not, because all games have this problem. Amazon is? Yeah, but this is a system that's endemic to the game even in Korea. So like, Amazon didn't make them add in the gambling feature because the shareholders said to do that. They already had it. Some people enjoy doing dumb stuff. Self-destruction is enjoyable to many people. Of course it is. My only difference is that I don't like people pretending like it's not self-destruction. Who cares if it's publicly traded? It still has shareholders. You're right about that, and I think that there is always and that's what I'm really trying to get at, is that I don't think that it has anything to do with capitalism or being publicly traded. I think that this is just greed. There's a reason why it's one of these 7 deadly sins. It's because it was around at the beginning of time of man, and it will never go away. It's not like people will ever have enough. There will never be a point where they're like, okay, I've made enough money, I'm done making money. They just keep doing it more and more and more. And it doesn't matter what the governmental system around it is. It doesn't matter what type of regulatory apparatus is trying to control it. People will go in between the cracks, in between the lines, and try to make as much money as they can, even in ways that are unethical. Because that's what's always happened, and that's always what will happen, because people are animals and they're programmed to survive. And how do you survive? Well, it's by obtaining resources for yourself and also your family. That's just what they do. People are hardwired to do this. And there are a lot of people that are not, by the way. A lot of people are not wired to do this. They're not going to do this. They make their money. They say, all right, I'm good, I'm done. And then somebody else comes along and they are. So yes, not everybody, but it's enough people for it to be a constant in society and a constant in human life. This is the last thing I want to talk about, and then I gotta go. Is there's a lot of players that are chasing something. They're like, you're chasing a dragon. You're chasing this experience that you had with gaming in probably like the 2000s or the early 2010s, maybe for some older guys it's the 90s, and people are constantly looking for the game that will make them feel the same way that they felt whenever they started playing World of Warcraft for the first time, or Arcade, or Lineage, or Ultima Online, or RuneScape, or whatever. And that's why everybody gets so hyped up about every single new MMO that's about to come out, is that this new MMO, they hear about it, they get excited about it, and they're so expecting this game to be the next game that they can really invest themselves in. Why do people want to invest themselves in something? It's because people want to have security. People want to have the game that they can feel confident that I can play this game all the time, and in a weird way my time isn't being wasted because it exists in this virtual world that matters to me and it matters to other people. And mattering to other people matters to you. That's why people care about having an expensive car in real life. That's why they care about having designer clothes. People like being able to show off things that they've accomplished, or things that they've been able to buy with money. So this is very common, and people are all the time going and trying to find that next new big thing. They're trying to go and find that next thing that gets them excited, that gets them hyped up, and makes them feel like they felt whenever they were in 2006. It makes them feel the way that they felt whenever they were 15. And every single time, as they get closer and closer to it, just like a mirage, the beautiful oasis turns into sand. And the fact is, and I know why, it's just as simple as this. A lot of players are looking for something that's not a game. They're not looking for a game. They're looking for an experience. And that experience, you cannot step in the same river twice. It's not the same river, and you're not the same man. And I think that's what's happened, is that with all these new MMOs coming out, and Ashes of Creation coming out, World of Warcraft Shadowlands, Final Fantasy Endwalker, New World, Lost Ark, people keep chasing this dragon, and they never really seem to catch it. And it's always, there's something wrong, there's something different. And theoretically, a lot of games like New World or Lost Ark fit what they want. It's like, oh, I want an open world that's breathing and environmentalist, right? Without a lot of fast travel, and you have to run to dungeons again, and they do all these things, and like they get classic WoW, and they're paying for Maraudon boosts. Like, wait, what? That's not what I wanted. But why am I doing this? I'm doing this. Well, I have to do this because everybody else is doing this. And it's like the whole world has changed around you. The way people approach video games has changed around you. The way that people have approached everything has changed around you. You've changed. Gaming has changed. Everything is different. And you're looking for something that's the same? How could you ever possibly find that? You see what I'm saying? How could you ever possibly find that? And there are going to be young kids out there who maybe might not ever have the experience that we did, but they might have another one that's similar to that. Do people get that same experience from playing Fortnite? It's hard to say. I'm sure some do, but it might not be as common as they did with World of Warcraft. So I think this is exactly what's happened. And what do you guys see what I'm saying here? Like a lot of people, like, you feel like the game's going to come out, and you want to be like, this is the game. Everybody wants to have, this is the game that I'm going to play for the next 10 years. This is the game I'm going to play for the next 5 years. They're constantly looking for that, and they want to invest themselves in that. And I think in a other way, this is why some people are trying to defend so strongly their game, because their game is what their emotional investment is in. Like for me, World of Warcraft has been a huge part of my life. Not playing the game as much is certainly different for me. I'm just playing other games, really, and I've always done that, to be fair. But now I'm doing it much more because I'm streaming and showing other games, and viewers like watching that, and I'm very thankful. That's great. But the fact is that I'm not doing the same things, right? And like so much of my time and energy and thought and feeling has been put up into that game. And so like if the game dies to a certain degree, if your claim to fame is this game and your abilities in this game or your accomplishments in this game, and the game doesn't matter anymore, well then you don't matter quite as much, because now the thing that you've invested yourself into doesn't matter anymore. You see what I'm saying? So that's why people defend it so much, is because they don't want to lose something that they felt like gives them value. So Mortal Online 2 has an old school feel. Yeah, it's also got thousands of people that play it every day, but that's all it's going to have, is thousands. It's not going to ever have millions of people that are playing it, right? A lot of people try a game like that, they end up not liking it. It is a more recognized accomplishment to be really good in Fortnite than to be really good in Mortal Online 2. And people care about having their accomplishments recognized and being able to have something that they are good at that other people place value in. TLDR on Roadmap, good or bad? Good.